Blair heard it right here in the middle of the Xbox booth, right here in the middle of the E3 show floor. Now, last year we got our first glimpse at Rainbow Six Siege and all the brutal destruction that entailed, and a closer look at Tom Clancy's The Division. Well, this year we're learning so much more about both games, and that's why these two gentlemen are here with Siege and The Division. Scott Mitchell and Ryan Bernard are here, everyone. You can't hear it, but there are 1,000 people behind us clapping, and one really excited PR lady as well. So guys, this is actually the first Rainbow Six that we've seen since Vegas 2 back in 2008, which has been 7 years. It's been a while. Not only has it been a long time, but we're on a new console cycle now. Tell us about what it was like to bring Rainbow Six back to the audience in this new console cycle.
Actually, it's the new consoles that really enabled us to bring things like the destruction and the new dynamic AI that you find in Terror Hunt. Without those, without the new consoles, without the Xbox One, it would have been really difficult. So that's why we were in development for so long, but we just weren't really happy with what was going on. And then when we introduced the Siege gameplay and everything, then it all came to fruition when the new consoles came out.
So one of the hallmarks of the series is obviously teamwork. What we've seen of Siege so far, very clearly, you need the people around you to help you out. So how does the teamwork actually play a factor in this particular game?
You really need to depend on your teammates. Everything changes in the maps constantly. Whether you're playing PvP, whether you're playing Terror Hunt, you really have to communicate all the time. New sight lines are being opened up all the time. Again, the maps are super, super explosive and dynamic. And if you don't communicate, well, then you're going to get shot. And then on top of that, we have the concept of the one life. So if you get knocked down, you're out for the rest of the match.
It's like the real world, you guys. If you get shot, you die. It's a thing that happens in the real world. And other things that happen in the real world, and you touched on it earlier, with this new power, these new consoles, you got destructible environments. That have happened in the past, but now it's a very real gameplay addition. Tell us about those.
The destruction in Rainbow Six Siege really represents the base of our new gameplay. Yep. It means that the maps are really replayable. It means that everything is super dynamic. You don't know what to expect. Players are constantly having to change their tactics, and depending on which operators they choose, the game changes even more.
And you spoke about Terrorist Hunt. People are very excited that that is back. What other game modes can you talk about that you're bringing to the game?
Well, you're going to find different game modes depending on whether you play as an attacker or a defender, whether you're going to be in the daytime or the nighttime. You've also got the siege generator, so you can kind of customize matches, etc. You're going to see things like extracting a hostage or protecting a VIP, planting or defusing bombs, etc.
Very cool. So in addition to the counter-terrorist units that we can play from across the globe with new operators and new tools, what else can you tell us about that particular set of the game?
Well, the operators or the CTUs are really the inspiration behind Rainbow Six. So we really paid attention to kind of the realistic side, really their journey through going from a reserve recruit to all the way through to becoming a professional. So the players kind of will live through that.
Very cool, man. All right, let's switch gears a little bit to The Division, which you're speaking to because it's on your shirt, right?
Yes, I got the shirt, so that means I have to talk about it.
I have to talk about it. All right, so I want to go to my card on this because I want to get everything right. Obviously, The Division was announced a couple years ago at E3. People have been tremendously excited about it. We're very close to getting our hands on it. But here's what it's being described as: an open-world, third-person, role-playing shooter with survival elements. Did I miss anything in the description of that title?
No, maybe. RPG and skills, possibly. No, it's actually a good mouthful and kind of a good summation of the game. You know, it's a mix of a lot of different genres. You've got RPG, you've got Clancy, you've got shooter, you have PvP, and so it's hard to kind of put it into terms in one word or a simple word of what the game is, which is, I think, why it's so appealing to a lot of different players.
And in a game this ambitious, this challenging to develop, we're finally nearing fans getting their hands on it with the beta, and for those Xbox One gamers, they're actually going to get exclusive access to the beta. How excited are you to finally get it into people's hands? And tell us a little bit more about the Xbox One access in the beta.
Sure. So, first of all, you know, the team globally couldn't be happier to be getting this into the hands of the players. So beta coming in December for those of you who are lucky enough to own an Xbox One or smart enough to own an Xbox One. We're very excited about that. It's going to be a huge beta. Also, if you pre-order the game, you can get into beta. You can go to our website. We can go to our website and You can enter a raffle to get into the beta that way. So we're very excited for to get the game in players' hands.
So it's literally impossible for you to not find a way to get into the beta. So get on that internet. And speaking of the internet, you guys announced the Dark Zone. People went bananas over how brutal it was. Tell us a little bit more about what they saw.
Yeah, so that was a great example of what we call a multiplayer space. So when you go into the Dark Zone, it's kind of like a lawless area as an agent. So you're cut off, your system reboots, and then it's kind of up to you on what happens beyond that point. So we don't like to call it a PvP space, or it's definitely not a battleground or a multiplayer map. It's player driven. So in the case of the demo, we had our players that teamed up with another set of agents first. They killed the enemies they came across, and then when they got to the extraction, when it came down to it, they got betrayed by the main group that was there. So all of that is kind of player driven, and it's up to you how you play.
Very cool. So don't trust your friends is basically what he's trying to say. And a question that I've been dying to ask, I know one you've been dying to answer, when are we going to be able to play this game?
You're going to be able to play The Division on March 8th, 2016, releasing on all platforms simultaneously.
Very excited. Well, gentlemen, thank you both for being here. Really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.